Hi, this is Kathy from Gadget Stop 321, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at my Boogieboard Blackboard in the smaller note size. For years, my daughter and I used the letter size Boogieboard, which was about the size of a legal pad. And you can see how the note size compares to that. It's about half the size. The note is similar in size to an A5 notebook, but the writing surface is actually just a little bit smaller. The folio that I have on mine is removable, and I actually bought mine separately. It has a magnetic closure that makes it nice and secure and holds it closed. And it's held in place by this little hook that is attached to let me show it. On the inside there's some elastic. I had one of these folios for my letter size Boogieboard. I don't remember the elastic being this tight. This is fairly difficult to remove, but I don't remove it very often, and I like that it's held in place securely. Now, it's a little bit off center, but I can just slide it down. And it kind of rests in these little grooves here. And so it doesn't tend to slide around. I did have some problems with the folio on my larger letter size Boogieboard. It did tend to slide down and didn't want to stay in place as well as I had hoped it would, but I've had no trouble with the folio on this smaller one. It feels very secure, and it gives the Boogieboard a feeling of rigidity. It makes it feel not so fragile. My Boogieboard came with a little easel, and that's just this little thing here that you can set the Boogieboard in and hold it up if you want to set it on a desk, and it's got a little place for the pen to set. The easel has a little slot for the pen because you can't leave the pen on the Boogieboard. You can't put it in portrait orientation. It has to be in landscape, and it sets in there at a fairly steep angle. So if you want to set this on your desk or a countertop with a message on it, let me see, maybe you could, since the pen attaches magnetically, it does tend to slide though, since if you try to stick it on there, but probably more secure just to leave it in the little easel. And it comes with two templates. This one is a dot grid and blank on the other side. The one that I'm using is a grid. The grid size is a little bit larger than the dot grid. And on the other side of this one is lines, and the lines are the same size ruling as this grid. I would probably prefer this smaller ruling, except that the pen puts down a pretty wide line. So this size ruling is a little bit more comfortable. Let me take the Boogieboard out one more time so I can, if you've never seen one of these in person, to me, it feels kind of fragile without the folio on it because, let's see, the templates just slide here in the back, and you can see it's just the screen. You can see how thin the frame around it is, and the screen is transparent and very thin. So I like having the folio on it. It does make it feel quite a bit more sturdy. But I will say the note size, with it being smaller than the letter size, it makes it feel a bit more sturdy. It feels like it has more rigidity to it. Like if you remember when the larger size iPads came out, how people were able, like Jerry Rig Everything, was able to just snap it in half with seemingly very little effort. That's kind of the same situation here. This feels more rigid than the larger size. The larger size just, to me, I felt like I had to be extra careful with it. And that's something you should consider if you're getting one of these for a child. How careful is your child with things that are kind of delicate? The note size has the same design as the letter size. It's got the 3 buttons up at the top and the rail for the pen. And the pen just rests in there magnetically. Or if you want it in there a bit more securely, the clip can clip onto the back. And on the back, you can see the note size has magnets. My letter size didn't have magnets, and I always said, man, this is called a blackboard. It should have some way to attach it to like the refrigerator. And I could have put those adhesive magnets on the back, but I never did. But I'll show in a clip here. I took a video of it. You can't attach it magnetically with the folio on it, but with the folio off, it attaches pretty securely. Now, I don't leave mine on the refrigerator because I have a couple cats. Really, this one right here is the main one I'm worried about. My daughter and I used the letter size blackboard for a few years. While she was in high school, we would practice doing math problems on it. So the letter size was really good for that, because as she got up in her math classes, some of them would take the entire blackboard to work out. This note size probably would not have worked for those later math classes, but for younger kids or for something other than doing long math problems, this note size is pretty nice. I, in fact, really like this size for brainstorming. That's the main thing I like to use this for. Like I mentioned, the line size is kind of wide on this. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. So this is a comfortable ruling for this size of a line, at least for me. Now, one good thing about this blackboard was I didn't have to calibrate the eraser feature out of the box. On my larger one, I did. So I don't know if that's something with the larger ones. Let's go ahead and test the eraser. Let's see, it's got a lock so that you don't accidentally erase. And then to erase, you hold down the erase button and you can erase with the eraser and then let go. And you can see it lightened up a little bit and then went back to pretty much normal. On my letter size, and I've heard this from other people, when you push the erase button, see it lightens and then doesn't quite come back to the original. But you can see with this smaller one, I wonder if that's just a function of the smaller screen. I'm not sure. Now, you can see there's still a little bit of residue left over. One thing someone mentioned to me when I made one of my earlier videos is that you don't have to erase with the eraser. You can erase with the tip and be a little bit more exact. So, let's see. Now, maybe I am going to have to calibrate my eraser. Maybe over time, that's something you have to go back and redo because it's not erasing as well as it has in the past. I don't use the eraser feature that often, and you can see it's leaving kind of a smear. But you can still write over it and see what you've written pretty well. Now, if you're going to use the app for scanning and organizing what you've written, let me throw this out there. A few weeks ago, I was going to make this video and the app was down. I don't know how long it had been down before I started trying to use it. It was down for a few days after I started trying, and I checked on Boogieboard's website, and they said they were aware of the issues with the app and they were working on it. And within a few days, it was back. I was kind of worried that I would have lost all my scans that I already had in there, but I didn't. They were all still there. But the thing is, if I had needed any information that was on there urgently, I would have been up a creek. So things like that make me a little bit leery of using the actual app for anything important. I'll put some pictures of what the scans from the app look like on here, and you can see it's not really high quality. In fact, you could use any other scanner app that you wanted to, or even just use your phone and your camera and find some other app to organize your pictures or your scans. That might give you a little bit more security or peace of mind. The feeling of writing, see if you can hear that. There's a little bit of sound, and it gives me that feeling of, or it sounds kind of like writing on paper. I like that scritchy, scratchy sound. It's pretty smooth, but maybe not as glassy smooth as like hard plastic on glass. This is really smooth. You can't feel any texture, but I like the feeling of writing on this. I enjoy using this product. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.